Donald Trump ordering an investigation into FEMA. We're finding out where all the money went there, and it didn't go to the people who needed it. I mean, you can go all the way back. Go all the way back to Hurricane Katrina. I remember reporting on that back when I worked in mainstream media for CBS News. I was stuck down there for a couple of months. I mean, it was really horrible, the aftermath. And what was so heartbreaking was that they had all these trailers and they couldn't get them to the people. It was so messed up. Remember that? Well, it's continued to be messed up. And why, you ask? Why? Well, Donald Trump has some thoughts. Oh, before we get to that, guess what's happening to FEMA? Exactly what you're looking at on the screen. Do you see that? Bye. That's the U.S. aid building. They had their signage taken right off of them on Friday. The Democrats are losing it. And that's what's going to happen to FEMA as well.
On an executive order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming and overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA. I think, frankly, FEMA is not good. I think when you have a problem like this, I think you want to go and, whether it's a Democrat or Republican governor, you want to use your state to fix it and not waste time calling FEMA. And then FEMA gets here and they don't know the area. They've never been to the area. And they want to give you rules that you've never heard about. They want to bring people that aren't as good as the people you already have. And FEMA's turned out to be a disaster. And you could go back a long way. You could go back to Louisiana. You could go back to some of the things that took place in Texas. It turns out to be the state that ends up doing the work. It just complicates it. I think we're going to recommend that FEMA go away. And we pay directly. We pay a percentage to the state. But the state should fix this. If the state did this from the beginning, it would have been a lot better situation. I think you guys agree with that, right?
In other words, FEMA, good luck. Steve Frischman, thank you for your generosity. Another super chat. That's great to see from both you guys. I want to get to those comments in a moment because he's wondering again about why we don't have John Radcliffe coming in to deal with Letitia. We can discuss, but I will just say this. There's a lot of fraud that needs to get uncovered, whether it be from USAID, whether it be from FEMA. Take a look at this. Elon tweeting out earlier today, the Doge team just discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. This is like just last week. Oh my gosh, sending this money violated the law and is in gross insubordination to the president's executive order. That money is meant for American disaster relief and instead is being spent on high-end hotels for illegals. A clawback demand will be made today to recoup those funds. Think of this waste that they are uncovering and exposing in real time, and Americans are with them. They're with Doge. They're with the president. We're seeing it in the latest approval polls. I've got more on that, but it's gross. When New York City hotels are converted into migrant shelters, I guess this tells us why you can't get a hotel room in New York anymore. Thousands of dollars it costs. Why? Because reduced supply. They're all going to the migrants, and they get these fancy contracts with FEMA. Probably USAID is in there too, but FEMA, they raked in over $1 billion in taxpayer funds, according to these internal documents. This is disgusting. This needs to stop. Elon, Trump demanding a clawback. I mean, it's all happening as you look at this headline from a couple of weeks ago. FEMA had to kick out hurricane survivors out of temporary housing into snowstorms and freezing temperatures. My gosh, Craig Ellsworth. Thank you, Craig Ellsworth. I will get to your comment as well. FEMA is kicking out the people, the Americans that need the housing, and they're sending billions of dollars to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. What is this? Honestly, what is this? This guy's furious. I want to introduce you to Cameron Hilton. He's the interim head of FEMA right now. Trump put him in the spot. Gary Hammers, thank you as well. I'm going to get to everybody's super chat, I promise you. Gary Hammers, thank you for your generosity. So Cameron's like, okay, what the heck? What the heck indeed? I want to thank the Doge team, he writes, for making me aware of this. Effective yesterday, these payments have been suspended from FEMA. Personnel will be held accountable. He's telling Elon Musk, oh, you better believe it, they got to be held accountable. I mean, they know they're not supposed to do this, and yet they sent $59 million last week. Last week, Donald Trump's in office. This is happening while he's there. Imagine that. Imagine how much they were sending during the Biden time. And we know $200 million went to a Pakistani hotel group, or a hotel, I should say. That would be the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Once a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hotel, has been taken over by migrants. And, well, it's like a payday for the Pakistani government, because they're getting $200 million of taxpayer money for this. I mean, this is unbelievable, you guys. It's unbelievable. It's disgusting. It's wrong. And this has to change. And it's going to change. I'm going to tell you how it's going to change. Quick shout out here to 76 Research. 76 Research, Spirits Filled. Thank you again. I'm going to get to this. Code word dollar. You should use code word dollar. This is my financial research company that I started with a dear friend who spent decades on Wall Street, running billions of dollars. We share a similar sensibility, I'll leave it at that, in terms of the political situation. Rob Horton, you've seen him on the show before, and I just wanted to shout this out. If you go to 76research.com, you can use code word dollar and get the 76 report. Tons of information in there for just $1 a month for the first 2 months, and it goes to $9.95. But anyway, let me go over to some of these comments here, because this is wonderful. Thank you again for Real Truth. Thank you at Real Truth, who's just saying, God bless me. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you. And then over to Craig Ellsworth. I'm keeping up the fight. You know it, Craig. Thank you so much for your generosity as well. I really, really, really do appreciate it. And then let me see. We were talking about whether or not Radcliffe and the CIA should be going after. I think the FBI is going to be able to do the job. I really do, Steve. And I think also that it's going to be good to have this exposure from Doge. Like, I want to see the money. Again, I go back to my business reporting, and I really think it's critical to understand where all the money is flowing, where it's going. I mean, one of the things that I was so perplexed by over the course of the last now 8 years is all the money that, well, I didn't know this at the time. I did not know that at the time. Oh, Spirit-filled, thank you so much. He's trying to push for the independent creators. We're not all going to be independent. Did you see the story? I'll get to that later. We'll do a big thing on it tomorrow. But I guess the company that sells Megyn Kelly, Bill O'Reilly, and Tucker's show, it just got bought by Fox. So they're coming full circle. The whole gang's going back to Fox. And it's kind of disappointing, right? Because then you think to yourself, hey, who's really independent if Fox is realizing, gee, we really, really messed up. We let these folks go, and then what do you know? Trump's back in power, so we don't have the same kind of advertising pressure that we used to. Maybe we ought to rethink this, and so they're bringing them back into the fold. They still own their shows, but Fox is going to sell their shows. And let me just say, those that control the purse have an awful lot of control over everything else.